If you're trying to figure out when this crypto bull run will truly begin, you need to do this immediately. Take a second, zoom out, stop staring at just Bitcoin, and start paying attention to other indicators and metrics that are crucial to understanding this bull run. This time, the signals are flashing all around Ethereum. Listen, it's simple. When ETH starts outperforming BTC, that's your early warning that the floodgates are opening. And right now, Ethereum is starting to show signs of life that we haven't seen in months. The smart money is rotating, on-chain data is confirming it, and the charts are telling a story that most retail investors haven't caught on to yet. This video is going to break it all down and show you why ETH might be the single most important indicator for what's about to happen in crypto. Of course, we can't talk about ETH without first talking about one of the most important metrics surrounding it, the ETH-BTC ratio. This simply measures the price of Ethereum compared to Bitcoin. So instead of looking at ETH in dollars, we're looking at how much Bitcoin you would need to buy 1 ETH. When this metric is going up, it means Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin. And when it's going down, Bitcoin is leading the market. The visuals on the chart really help give us an idea of how much momentum ETH has in a given time frame. But why does this matter? Well, it signals when the markets finally move from phase 1 of the path to alt season into phase 2. This is basically when liquidity starts with the safest asset, Bitcoin, and eventually trickles down into higher risk assets. The next step in that funnel is Ethereum, and once that happens, it lights the fuse for liquidity to trickle into large cap altcoins, and then finally we'd see alt season in full effect. Right now, the ETH-BTC ratio is sitting just under 0.024, which is up on the week, but it's still not anything too crazy. But check this out. In previous cycles, this level has acted as a major pivot point. Back in February of 2021, when the ratio broke above 0.03, it kicked off a massive altcoin run that saw tokens explode across the board. ETH-BTC topped off around 0.07 right before the first peak and 0.08 right ahead of the second peak. So if we see similar movement with ETH-BTC this time around, it could be a major indicator for alt season. By the way, if you're finding any of this helpful or insightful and want to go deeper down the rabbit hole, you should consider joining me in the FireHustle VIP Discord. I'm in there every single day talking to the community and working with my team to deliver top tier crypto education, market updates, macro analysis, technical insights, portfolio strategies, and more. Check out the link in the description if you're interested. Now, back to the video. Now, it's not all about ETH-BTC. There's actually another very important metric that we should be looking at. It's called altcoin compression. Compression happens when the price of an asset starts moving in a tighter and tighter range over time, also known as consolidation. On a chart, it looks like the highs are getting lower and the lows are getting higher, forming a sort of triangle. This creates a kind of squeeze where the price action is coiling like a spring, often predicting a strong breakout. But why does this matter for ETH? Well, because compression builds pressure. The longer the price stays compressed, the bigger the move when it finally breaks out. It's the calm before the storm, and in crypto, that storm can be explosive. Right now, we're seeing altcoin market cap compression across the board. When you zoom out on total 3, which is the total market cap of all altcoins excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, it's easy to see that prices have been moving sideways in a tight range for pretty much the entire year now. And you can see the same thing with ETH. After we saw that jump in early May, ETH has been trading sideways around the 2300 to 2700 range for the last 2 months now. This tells us that the buy and sell pressure is matched and a breakout could be on the horizon. If liquidity keeps rising and catalysts keep stacking up, this compression could lead to a seriously big move. But remember, compression doesn't always tell you the direction, just that a big move is coming. That's why it's also important to pair that with other things like liquidity, news, economic policy, and narratives to understand what comes next. And we've been seeing some insane headlines as of lately. So if you live on Twitter, like I do, then you may have noticed that there's been a massive flood of ETH news. And this news is going under the radar for most retail traders. First, SharpLink Gaming, a massive sports betting marketing network, announced that they will become one of the first NASDAQ-listed companies to have ETH as its primary treasury reserve asset. This isn't just some random startup either. SharpLink has a market cap of over $1 billion, and their Ethereum stash is now worth over $500 million. And now we're seeing other companies start to follow their lead and make similar moves. GameSquare and Bit Digital Two other NASDAQ listed companies are also adding Ethereum to their treasuries and making some massive buys. These moves bring some serious institutional legitimacy to ETH's smart contract capabilities, and the fact that more companies are choosing ETH over BTC as a treasury asset is pretty bullish. I mean, just look at how bullish BitDigital CEO Sam Tabar is on Twitter. There's also a pretty cool way to track this stuff now. CoinGecko has a page that shows all the publicly traded companies with Ethereum holdings. Although it looks like this feature is pretty new and SharpLink and GameSquare haven't been added yet, we can see that Coinbase is number one by far, holding over $300 million of ETH, with BitDigital in second, holding around $73 million. Although BitDigital just recently increased their holdings to 100,000 ETH, so that should be updated soon. I think we're going to see this list continue to grow in the near future as companies pile in and add ETH as a treasury asset. Alright, so we have liquidity down thanks to institutional funding, and that's one piece of the puzzle. But how exactly is the sentiment around ETH looking for retail traders and the general public? Well, just look at the way people are talking about Ethereum again. Pentoshi, one of the most influential crypto traders on Twitter, dropped a very bullish tweet not too long ago. He claims in less than 1 month, public companies will have bought enough ETH to offset all the ETH that's been created since the merge. He also makes a good point about how much smaller ETH is compared to Bitcoin, meaning it'll be able to make some serious moves with a lot less liquidity. And he believes that liquidity is about to start flowing in. And just a quick side note for all you crypto traders watching, I get asked all the time which exchange I use. And honestly, I don't rely on just one. There are just too many hacks, outages, and weird issues to put all your trust into a single platform. Even Coinbase has had its moments. And that's why I spread things out across more than 10 exchanges. One of my main ones is WEEX. They've got insanely low fees and a super easy sign up process. Just use your email. And you can check out the link in the description for a special bonus. But back to Ethereum. We're also starting to see ETH take up more media presence on massive channels like CNBC, MetaMask casually bull posting, and Ethereum's overall sentiment is 81% bullish on CoinMarketCap. And all of this is happening in such a close time frame, which is definitely saying something. But finally, let's talk about the third piece of the puzzle, the technicals. So jumping into the charts, we know that ETH has been trading sideways for a few months now. But as of recently, it's been coming very close to the $2,700 range. It actually just hit $2,700, and this is a price that we haven't seen since February. And here's when it gets exciting. We witnessed Ethereum form a golden cross pattern on the weekly chart, while RSI attempts a breakout from its downtrend. So for those of you who don't know, a golden cross is a bullish signal that happens when a shorter moving average crosses above a longer one. In this case, Ethereum just formed a weekly golden cross because the 50-week moving average crossed above the 200-week moving average. This doesn't happen often, and when it does, it usually signals a big shift in momentum. When we've seen golden crosses on the weekly chart in the past, ETH has often followed up with some serious gains. For example, the last time this happened in late 2023, Ethereum climbed about 30% in just a few weeks. So those are just a few reasons why I'm keeping a very close eye on Ethereum right now. Not just because of the price action, but because all the signals are lining up for the market as a whole. The ETH BTC ratio is turning, compression is building, sentiment is shifting, and institutional money is starting to flood in. This isn't about catching hype. It's about reading the signals that smart money is already acting on. And if Ethereum leads the way again like it did in the past cycles, we could be staring down the start of something huge. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but I am saying that this is the exact moment where you would want to be paying attention. If you're someone who wants to stay ahead of these kinds of moves, don't just sit on the sidelines. Be part of the conversation, track these metrics, understand the narratives, and always stay sharp. Ethereum might be more than just another altcoin this cycle. It might be the key that unlocks everything else. And that's it for today. Remember, just because I'm talking about a project doesn't mean that you should just blindly invest in it. None of this is financial advice. Always do your own research and understand the risks before making any investment decisions. If you're interested in the projects that I'm watching closely, then come and join me in the FireHustle VIP Discord. The link is in the description below. And if you want more videos like this, then hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.